automation anxiety is a thing. It can be seen throughout sort of industry when you speak to people. One thing that people fear from the below is that they're going to lose their job, so they're going to have some job insecurity, some job security risks occur. At the top, obviously, it could be a case of it's a way of saving money, ensuring that things are done as necessary, as designed. I think some of the sort of the anxiety is justified to some extent, but it's more a case of misunderstanding as to what's happening. I think, when you look back at industries in general, there's always a fear of the new, and I think it's more a case of the adaptation to the new than it is a case of being so scared in regards to your job. It's more a case of how do you engineer the future in your benefit. So when you look at things like, say, AI-based cars, like automated cars, it could be a case that there's another job that comes out of that with, like, say, taxis and such. There's maybe a higher prestige version of a taxi where you have an actual physical driver, or people who have to maintain and deliver the service to others, really, as opposed to the actual cars themselves. There may be other jobs that we've yet to discover. It's just a new way of thinking and a new understanding, I think, that needs to be taken on board by both employees and also employers. AI tools and products are becoming part of the marketplace these days, and we're seeing them come through. I think automation is starting to have tools such as sentiment, where you can actually recognize either a high positive or a very low negative and differentiate between the two. That could be used for any customer use. So a simple example to give would be customer services. You may want to judge an email based on the use of grammar and language within it to say whether or not it was going to be a negative email or a positive email. That information is very useful, as it means that your automation can be tailored to sort of suit different responses that might come through, and further automate tasks and preempt the business or preempt the customer replies that might come through for certain messages. And again, as said, it's not just as simple as going towards customer services. You could push that through to anything. So it could be the accuracy of a user's email that they're sending through, or a form that's coming through. You could use it for that sort of functionality, and the availability of that's becoming it's cutting edge at the moment, but it's going to become more and more commonplace over time. I think when it comes to reaction to automation and things such as Facebook, for instance, throwing you information and dealing with things that are within your sort of privacy, it is a case of gauging the consumer reaction for it. The tools are there to be able to be used to the business's advantage, but it's down to the business themselves to make the correct choices of how they use that technology. Obviously, if we're using something as powerful as AI and automation combined, then a lot of fear could come from the use of those features if used incorrectly. But it's more of a question, I think, for the business themselves as to how they're actually using the tools, as opposed to the customer reaction, because the customers will react, or the consumers will react negatively if you do something that is scary. It's making it so that the use and behavior is second nature to that user. Things such as Siri, Cortana, Google on an Android phone. When you're asking these tools questions, people are seeing it as an assistant, someone who can help them out. Obviously, there's some fearful information that's happening with that data. If you were to query it, you can go onto your Google history and see all of the voice searches that you've actually performed in a list, and that'll give you your entire history of your voice command searches. Obviously, the main users don't know this, so they're not so fearful of it. They become adapted towards the technology. So again, it's using the information of it positively and trying to make sure that there aren't any mistakes which are creating a nature of fear from the users. But again, it's really down to the industry and the designers of those tools to make it as comfortable and as second nature as possible to the users, I think.